Hey everybody, this is Grace, and I'm thinking about making a separate channel for just this, that I want to keep a record of the changes that I'm going to be going through because of my rare health condition, and finally it's being medicated. And some of the changes they mention is that it's basically going to reverse some of the problems that are associated with it. I've had all these years, had it since I was a child. First time being medicated, first time other than Band-Aid medications is what I call them. This is the medication that's used for this. It's used for other purposes too. At least one other that I know of. But anyway, I'm not going to mention the name of it, and I'm not going to mention the name of the rare health condition, not ever again. And any comment that has it, somebody guess, I'm just going to block delete. I'm not even going to read. But anyway, the things I want to focus on is any change that I see, and I can't say that I'm that it's associated with it because I'm not a medical health voice of authority on any of it. So I'm just going to be commenting on what I've seen change, and perhaps it is associated with it. But some of the things they said was like the diabetes, the hypertension, and it can cause weight loss because the health condition itself causes weight gain. And then it's very, very difficult to lose that weight that it causes to gain. So I gained 48 pounds all of a sudden back in 2023. No doctor has ever been able to tell me why, but this one, he's a specialist in this, and he told me it was associated with this, probably associated with this health condition. So some gain, just think about it. And on top of that, muscle atrophy and the hamstring muscles. Think about it. That weight gain and the muscle atrophy. It became more and more difficult for me to walk for a long period of time, and that's just part of it. Just part of it. So I want to see, keep a record of the reversal of this kind of thing. How difficult. And it said that it could take a couple of years for all of the changes to take place, and then it's just building more from there. But I have been in not rehab, but I keep saying rehab when it's physical therapy. Physical, not in rehab. Physical therapy for this twice I've been in. Both times I didn't like it was two different physical therapists. I didn't like them. They seemed more interested in talking to one another, and not even paying attention to what I'm doing. They're just saying, do this, and walk off and start talking to one another or talking to somebody else there. Neither one of them seemed like they were interested in the, and I wasn't the only patient there, and I could see them. They just weren't interested. They were too busy elsewhere, even in their mind. So no thanks. But I'm thinking about asking the doctor I went back to. Thinking about asking her to see if she can find me a physical therapist. And hopefully this one won't come up to me like real quiet so anybody else can't hear and look at me real close and say, I'm going to make this difficult for you. Well, she got fired. I fired her. She didn't get fired from the job. I fired her from being and no, both of them, I quit, and both of them kept trying to call me. Finally, I blocked the number, so they can't call me anymore. No thanks. I'm not in it. I'm not in some gym, and I know that they do this, and so you can see it sometimes on TV. They talk about people who are in physical therapy and they're really rough. Okay, I'm not that age that you see them, and I didn't sign up for the military, So, no thank you. Yeah, so. But anyway, now, like, here's an example of what I want to keep, tabs on, basically. This is weird. And like I said, I cannot say it's associated with this. It could simply be just something that happened in a way coincidental, happened at the same time. It could have been something, it could be something else. But once I just took the third pill. Okay, and I take them 24 hours apart. So this is the third pill. Right after the second one, I think it was that night, I couldn't sleep the night before, and so I woke, I didn't sleep much at all before I took the first pill. And then I went back to sleep, and when I woke up later on, because I had hardly maybe 3 hours sleep the night before, I think I slept real good when I woke up after I'd already taken the first pill, and I felt lighter. Okay, the scale, I checked, the scale did not say lighter. Okay, actually since I started, my weight went up, but that's kind of normal for me. So, I've only taken this as a third pill, but the scale had said that it went up, and then that's an edema thing going on, water retention, but it was weird. It really was weird that all of a sudden I felt lighter, like I'm walking around feeling just not as heavy, with, just think, 48 pounds, muscle atrophy, trying to walk, and it feels so heavy. I mean, if somebody put around your waist, it's not around my waist, but how else are you gonna put 48 pounds of weights? Or maybe on your ankles, I guess, but I don't know. I would say, I don't think anybody would do that. Put it around their waist, but yeah, and then trying to walk and because the muscle atrophy is on my hamstrings. So, I am pronouncing that right? So, where are you going to put it? You see what I'm saying? To kind of try to mimic the weight. And then what I'm trying to use is the hamstring muscles. Okay, it's not the weight is above the hamstring muscles. Okay, wow, difficult, and it should be very simple to explain, but it's really not all around. This is a weird thing, and without saying what it is, and somebody can go look it up and understand, oh, I see, I get it. It's just not that easy. And it's a rare health condition. The medication alone, my copay was $500 for 28 days, but they told me that I could get this coupon. You know how they have those cards? It's not the same card. It's a different one. It's a different way they do it. And they got it, and it took off everything. So I paid nothing. The first person had told me it was going to cost me $90.36, something like that, and a month. This is 28 days supply. And I got it zero. I would have had to pay $500, and that's the insurance paying how much? This medication's expensive. Okay, and anyway, they won't tell. I have not found anything yet. It says, I looked it up, it says, oh, it's very expensive. That's all it says. I guess I'll get an EOB or something. Anyway, explanation of benefits, I don't know if I do or not, but for medication. Anyway, so I want to keep track on stuff like that. Track on the cost, track on like I said, this whole thing with feeling like I was walking a little lighter, and my body was a little lighter, and I felt it more than once, and it just surprises me each time. Like the first time I went to go shopping, and so I was in my SUV, I was thinking, I feel different. I was all by myself, and I'm like, what is going on here? And I got out and I started walking, and it just felt so much lighter. And I was not thinking about me taking this pill at the time. You see, I was not connecting those dots that way. But when I felt it and realized it, thought about it, then I thought, yeah, it could be that pill, but that soon? It says the pill is really fast acting, within 90 minutes or something. Yeah, I don't know if it would cause that kind of reaction, of feeling lighter. And what would that be? I was telling Adam that today. I said, hey, if you want to be have some kind of a voice of authority on it, check this out. I was joking, of course. But, Adam likes to, he's been doing that thing of looking up stuff since he's retired, He's a little older than I, and he gets bored. I said, he always comes up with stuff that I'm like, dude, I've known this for many, many years. But, so I found him something to say, hey, focus on this. But really, what would it be? Because I was asking him, I said, let's try to figure this one out. What would be heavier? Would it be like our bodies are full with, have these things, water, skin, the bones, and all these things that our bodies consist of, including things like fat and, for fatty deposits. I don't know how it works. I am not a voice of authority on any of this stuff, but I was just mentioning these different things. Muscle, what would weigh more? I know what I've heard, but like I said, I'm not a voice of authority on it. And what would make me feel, because I'm trying to find out what's making me feel lighter when the scale is saying the same. Seriously. But one of the things that's supposed to happen, I'm watching a lizard, by the way, so I'm a little distracted. It's always lizards and wasps in front of me. Sometimes squirrels, so I will have a literal squirrel moment. But one of the things is weight loss. It can cause weight loss because, like I said earlier, the health condition causes weight gain all of a sudden, and then it can cause the weight loss all of a sudden. Taking the medication could cause this. So, I don't know how long I've read so many things in this. They differ. I listened to what the doctor said. I listened to what the pharmacist said. The actual professionals, the specialist, the doctor, the specialist, who's the same person, and the pharmacist. Pharmacists are supposed to know what these things do, these medications. And theirs wasn't exactly the same. Like he said, the doctor, he said that he can't promise these things. The pharmacist, she didn't say anything like that. She just said, this is what it can cause. This is what it could cause. These are what it should not cause. It should help with is the diabetes, the blood pressure, and the weight loss. So it'll cause me to lose weight. So anyway, the lizard, now let me tell you, was having a blast over here, and it was very distracting. It's such a beautiful day. It really is such a beautiful day. And right now it says it's 71 degrees Fahrenheit. It's March 19th. It's exactly 11 a.m. So anywhere here north in a suburb of Dallas, in a big city all to itself. It's the number 9. It's the 9th largest city in Texas. So 4 in DFW. Anyway, so that's something I'm wanting to keep track of. And also it says that taking this medication can actually cause a little bit of edema, but having the health condition can cause edema. Okay? The swelling of, well, really, it's not just limited to the legs, lower legs, and ankles and feet. It's not limited to that, but I just thought, did I say the name of the disorder? I probably will sometime. Not disorder, Oh boy, my brain thinks in terms of disorders, since I talk so much about cluster B personality disorders. But anyway, my it causes a lot of things, and some of it's a physical health condition. It's physical. Okay, it's not mental, it's physical. But because it's physical and because they're not separated, it can cause different things, kind of like another one I read about, which I've been telling Adam lately. It was really starting to bother me. And I said, would you think that, because I wasn't sure. And I said, would you think that's what it's saying? And it's basically, he said he thought so too, and he thought so, and I said, well, so do I, but I wasn't sure. And, got his opinion without telling him what I thought. You see what I'm saying? And he'd make up his own mind for certain. It was on his own thought. But anyway, it's basically like I go, and this happens more now, and I kept thinking maybe it's associated with getting older. I go into the kitchen, fix myself a plate of something to eat, or a bowl, whatever. It's there. On not a bowl, let's say a plate. And then I look at it and I said, that's not enough food. So I put more. I go sit down, put the plate down. I usually eat at my desk. And I put the plate down, and it's kind of tall. And I said, whoa, I got too much. You see what I'm saying? There's just this difference. And that's what he thought too, when I told him, what I thought after he said what he thought. And he agreed, yeah, that probably is what it's saying. And that's the past few years. Well, a lot changed in 2023. This is 2026. So I want to see if that improves, because that's the weirdest thing to me. Looking at the plate standing up, but then when I sit down, it's just how much is in there. It's never happened to me before, till recently, that I saw such a big difference. And it could be different glasses. And me, I'm nearsighted, so I have glasses. I've worn glasses since I was 10 to see far. 10 years old. And that, by the way, is when for certain I started having this health condition. Was 10 years old. Probably had it before then, but the symptoms didn't show up until I was 10. Boy, there is a bee going crazy. Do you see it? It's weaving in and out. Yeah, in front here. You see it? See it? Talk about distracting. It's flying kind of like a gnat. It has the attention span of a gnat. But anyway, it's like me, and that's another thing. To stay focused on one thing, concentrate on one thing. As my life as I got older, that one started younger than this one I just mentioned. But to focus started changing quite a bit. Like I would do where I would work. Luckily, we had a little, we could focus on this or that, whatever it was. I'm one of those people call me bar raiser. When I was at work, I would get my job done. I didn't sit around talking to other people all day long. Yeah, I worked with people like that, and then they want to blame them being slackers on the other people, calling them bar raisers. She's a bar raiser. They want to take distract people from what they're doing. And blame it on somebody else somehow, some way. And say that they're just lazy, don't want to do their job, they want to stand around and talk and goof off. But anyway, luckily we had, we could focus on different things, because that would be, it's like, some would say, one of my professors actually asked me if I was ADD. Because I went to her with a whole bunch of questions one time. I went to her and I asked them one after the other. She'd give me an answer, I'd move to the next one. But I knew her as a professor that she would go into far too much detail and I would never get all of my questions answered if I didn't just jump to the next one. You know what I'm saying? So I did that on purpose, and she said, ADD much? Something like that. So not at all. But there was something, I would say, is, you know, similar to it, but with her, I knew to go fast. I knew to question fast, to get it all answered before I'm standing there for a few hours. So, but it's kind of like that. It is in a way like that. You know, I'd get bored with stuff if I sat there all day long doing the same thing. You know, stamp, you know, that, like those examples of people taking big stamps, you know, and go boom, 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 all that, you know, stamping page. That wasn't my job, but you get the gist. Or do you? But anyway. Okay. And also, there's some things I want to watch, you know, watching out for. Like, I hear, have a little ringing in my ears. What is the word for that? Tinnitus? What is it? I don't remember. I'm not a voice of authority. That's not my field. Yeah, so, and I have that problem as it is with remembering names associated with things, and that is part of this disorder. See, I keep saying disorder, this health condition. Okay, it is part of it. But that ringing in the ears, it's not always ringing. Sometimes I have it. I've had it before too. So I don't know. But it's also, you know, it creates, I'm not going to name the names of them. I'm doing this on purpose. Because, you know, when people use the kind of health condition you have to try to grift off of people, seriously, you change your mind. You might. How dare they? From what I understand, another thing I am not a voice of authority on, so I could be wrong, is illegal to claim that you have some kind of health condition to try to get people to feel sorry for you and send you money. It was so low. This is a low life that does something like that anyway. But anyway, it causes, it's a physical health condition, like I say, that can cause the body to have too much of something. And see, I'm leaving it out on purpose. And once taking this pill, it blocks that from happening, and I could go through withdrawal. Okay. I don't know if you've ever been through withdrawal on anything. And this is not, it's not like going, from what I understand, I don't know, it's not like going through withdrawal on some kind of other chemical, you know, like you're drinking or whatever. You know, I'm trying to leave out these words. Now, it's not something I take. It's not me doing it on purpose. It's my body doing it because of the health condition. I have no choice in it. Until they come up with this medication, I take this medication, my body doesn't produce too much of that anymore. So that's what I will be going through withdrawal, is that what the body is not creating too much of anymore. Yeah. And then all the changes with because like I could eat so very little, and it would still show me as having eaten like a whole lot of carbohydrates or sugars, added sugar, you know, these kinds of things. And I hardly ate anything. You know, these kinds of things. And I'm not type 1 diabetic, I'm type 2. It's insulin resistance. So, and this is supposed to help with not have insulin resistance. It's another part of it. That's not the chemical, by the way. So that's not what it produced. Well, in a roundabout way, but that's not what I would go through withdrawal on. So that's not the one. Oh, so many things, and I just want to keep tabs because today I just took the third one, but since the first one, like I said, sometime later that day, I started feeling this lighter feeling. And I'm still feeling it, lighter. This is very interesting to me. But the scale is not saying lighter. Very interesting to me. And it also says things like I might stop, I might not want to eat. I have to watch for that. I have to watch out for that. I mean, I have to eat. And that doctor, I went back to this other doctor, and she said that, I took that test. That was the one test that didn't get taken. It didn't get to the lab. However that happened. But I went back to the lab last week, got the results. She, through the portal, she wrote what she thinks and about it, and that was for anemia. Another doctor had told me that I had anemia, and she said that it could lead to that. What I have could be, what is it called? Like when you're pre-diabetic or something like that. That I have to really watch it. Well, I wonder, I'm going to ask her if, because I've been paying more attention to what they say online, am I doing the right thing? And what something that she said in her comment, her response to it, was the same thing that I've been doing. So I'm going to talk to her about, have I been doing right so well that now it's not saying I have anemia, is saying I'm just before and I need to work on it a little harder. It is tough. It's something, I have to eat. And I don't like eating that. So, we'll see. Anyway, that's enough. But I plan on doing something, like I said, I might make a separate channel, like as if I need more channels. In 11.5 years, I have plenty. But I don't have any that I could just focus just on this kind of thing. Use that channel. I might do that. We'll see. Talk to you on another video. Bye.